Mounjaro shortage update and Zepbound shortage update. Hi friends, I am Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I have had the privilege of losing over 92 pounds the last year and a half of my life, of being on first starting with Mounjaro because of the Mounjaro shortage, ironically, moved to Zepbound because of Zepbound, moved over to Tirzepatide compound, and now I'm back on Zepbound. Today's episode, we're going to deep dive into what is up with these medications and are you able to get your Mounjaro? Are you able to get your Zepbound? And talking a little bit more about that, solutions, and of course, being able to access your drugs easily, efficiently, and also cost effectively as possible. So let's go ahead and dive in. What I want to start to talk about is the resource I'm going to be using is the FDA's website to start off with. I will link that down in the description link below, as is all of my resources talking about today. This is the screen share off of that FDA website, and I need to put my glasses on because I can't see this far, and I thought I could, and now I'm going to have to zoom in. It's saying on here, if you'll notice, Mounjaro and then also Zepbound are all available. And one would think if you are new here, oh great, I can get my medication. And erroneously, that you'd be wrong. You would be wrong. If you haven't seen my previous videos of what's happening with the shortages. Now, if you go over to, let me move my screen share real fast, over to, for example, the WEGOVY and the Ozempic shortage, let's pull that one up. You'll see on there that you see it says limited availability for the WEGOVY starting dose, and then the rest of the doses for Ozempic and WEGOVY are available. As I have said over the last year and a half, and I'll say it again today because it's still true, just because something is not on the FDA shortage list does not mean that there is a shortage not existing. If you did not see my previous videos of what happened and subsequently the legality of what is going on, let me get you caught up to speed. This saying it is available for me and for many other people is simply not true. It is just not being reported by Eli Lilly, which I love Eli Lilly. They've changed my life and saved my life. However, they are no longer reporting to the FDA shortage list that there's a shortage going on. Why does that matter for you having access to your medications, you may ask, for Mounjaro and for Zepbound? Well, that'd be a great question. Is by not reporting to the FDA, it's making that there's not a shortage. If there is not a shortage, there's still a shortage going on. We're going to talk about that. But if there's not a shortage going on, that means that compounds no longer are, the legality of compounds become much trickier. Can they exist? Sure. I was going to pull up to see, because some people are like, I don't even know what a compound is. Compounds are medications that is the Tirzepatide that is mixed with something, but it makes it easier to access when something is on the FDA shortage list. Then thus we can have these compounds and these fancy vials with needles that you would do as opposed to a like Zepbound pen. Mounjaro folks really don't use that because that's for type 2 diabetes, FDA approval for type 2 diabetes. It is prescribed off label, but for people with chronic obesity management for Zepbound have been heavily relying during the shortage on Tirzepatide compounds. Because Zepbound is now yanked off that FDA shortage list, there is going to be, and it's already happening coming down the pike, cease and desist letters to compound places to stop distributing compounds. And it was a way for Eli Lilly. I love Eli Lilly. Yeah, I have said from the get-go the last year and a half, I want to be sponsored by Eli Lilly. I very much, they saved my life and changed my life. I am so incredibly grateful for many reasons to Eli Lilly. For example, I had been decades on a roller coaster and just went on a roller coaster and was able to fit actually into the seat after decades of not being able to do that. So I'm very grateful to Eli Lilly. And I have some pause speaking out on this, but I want to tell the truth and I want to tell my experience, strength, and hope of what I'm seeing firsthand of this shortage is not over. It is reportedly over by not being on the FDA list. But I had said that a while back of the bureaucracy and red tape of the FDA on the shortage list. Previously, that just because it's not on there doesn't mean it doesn't exist has been my experience. I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams and I'm very much experiencing a shortage in my neck of the woods. Now, many of you may say, Elizabeth, I can get my medication easy peasy lemon squeezy. The last few months, it has not been a problem for me at all. And to you, I would say, congratulations. I'm sincerely, like from my heart, so happy for you. Like, that's great. But that is not representation of the US population. And I know we have so many other viewers watching from the UK and Australia and Canada and all of our friends across the whole globe. Welcome, by the way. But this is also trickled. I mean, I'm an economist daughter, so trickle down economics of this is a global thing of not having access to the medication by taking away these compounds. What do you think these compound folks are going to have to go do then? They're going to go back over to taking the pen. Did you know that 50% of people taking Mounjaro are self-pay? I saw that stat somewhere, and I read it somewhere, and I don't have my source to cite, so please always fact check me, because normally I say I cite my sources down in the description link below. I need to find that source of where I heard that. I don't have that linked in the description. I need to find that. But these people who are taking compounds, if their place where they're going has received one of these Eli Lilly cease and desist letters, the access to compounds is going to be seemingly less and less, because Eli Lilly initially tried to sue medical spas and they lost in the courts for compound folks. So it's another legal way for pharmaceutical company to not have compounds exist, because it's quite a bit of money. It's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that compound pharmacies are making. And so how is you as a consumer being able to get that is you erroneously may be thinking, gosh, and I've seen so many people in my free encouragement group say, I'm not able to get my medication, or I'm not able to get my medication, but it's not on the shortage list. Or people saying, it's not on the shortage list, the shortage is over. Not so much, slow down. Slow down if you're able to find it. And what I don't want to do is make a henny penny fear-based decisions, because here at Countess Shopping, we do not live in a fear-based mentality. We are solution-oriented and we're problem solvers. And so we will tackle this as we have tackled over the last year and a half of walking through these shortages as they go. We're smart people. We have evolved. We have opposable thumbs because we evolve. And so we will evolve with this as things change. One of the things I want to share, though, that has been so helpful for me, and if you have this, is if having the tools in place to handle the shortage. And I'm going to go into this. You're going to want to stay till the end, because I've got more information that we do need to talk about with the shortage. One of the tools that has absolutely helped me has been LMNT electrolytes. It has been a game changer. They have both sparkling electrolytes and also sticks that you can put into your drinks. I am obsessed with them in terms of muscle recovery. After my workout, it's like the first thing I grab for is I love the cans. I've evolved into loving the cans. They've become one of my favorite things, is having a cold one in the fridge. And it has in there magnesium, potassium, and sodium, which helps with muscle recovery and with side effects. So if you are just starting Mounjaro, if you are just starting Zepbound, for me, I bought these and started taking them a year and a half ago. Why? Because many influencers who I respected had recommended LMNT. So I bought them to try them, and gosh, it really helped with my side effects. I tested it with side effects and without side effects. For me, it made a big difference on Mounjaro and on Zepbound, particularly when I'm titrating up. That's my huge recommendation. And now with lifting and doing Pilates and all these physically laborious things, y'all, I walked during those, riding that roller coaster, it was miles and miles and miles and miles. We were at Busch Gardens going on these roller coasters. You know what I had in my pocketbook? My LMNT electrolytes makes a big difference. So LMNT has been very gracious to the Countess Shopping community and has given us 8 free sticks with any purchase. You can go to drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN, to go ahead and snag yours. Drinkelement.com/queen. And it's important as we navigate through this shortage to be able to have solutions if you do have to have a pause in your medication. Even though the shortage is telling you that it's available, these Mounjaro and Zepbound may not be. And so, same thing with our friends. I'll flip that screen back over. This is the screen. It says it was revised on August 6th, 2024. And I'm filming this, by the way, on August 21st, 2024. So you have, if this data changes miraculously, which is sometimes happens after I film one of these updates, you can see on there, WEGOVY's on the limited shortage. What does that mean for our compound friends on semaglutide? Well, if WEGOVY were to come off the FDA shortage list, seemingly the same thing that's happening right now with Tirzepatide compound folks, of that for now able to get it, but navigating in the future, Eli Lilly is building a case and they're building foundation for themselves to go into these compounding places to end compounds. Which stinks. It stinks. It really does stink, because I know so many of you are on compounds. I mean, so many of you are on compounds. And so I want to make sure people who are on Zepbound, the pen, and people who are on compounds are prepared, not from a fear-based place, because we don't live in fear, but from a solution action-oriented place. What I would do, which I had recommended, gosh, a year and a half ago, was call different pharmacies within your local pharmacy range, a 30-mile radius, and see who does have your specific dose. We know that Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, the starting dose, and Zepbound 5 milligrams, and Zepbound is for chronic obesity management, type 2 diabetes. The FDA approval is for Mounjaro for type 2 diabetes. Does not have this yet. They may, depending, I think, how this goes, potentially. I think it may be like a beta test. But for Zepbound 2.5 milligrams and Zepbound 5 milligrams, the first two doses, the vials are getting released with like how a compound was. And so that should also help alleviate some of this pressure that we're seeing in the marketplace. Many of you, including myself, I had said this at the beginning, and the count helped me rephrase it. I was like, man, it stinks. They didn't do it for Zepbound 15 milligrams, which is my dose. Well, guess what's going to happen? The supply chain of having alleviation for the first two doses, that is going to ripple across all doses on Zepbound. It just is. If you help with that pressure and you take some of that pressure off, that is going to be beneficial for every dose on Zepbound, right? It's because the pens were part of the shortage. So that is one of the blessings. I told you, we've got solutions. Do not get scared. Do not get afraid. I don't want you to come from a fearful place. Watching my content, I want you to leave uplifted and encouraged. That's always my intention. And so with having these vials released, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Now, for some of you who are on compounds, you're like, gosh, what am I going to do? Because I can't afford the full price. What I want to encourage you to is literally what I am doing. I'm going to, you guys, many of you know, I work with Join Fridays. They're my telehealth provider that prescribes the brand name Zepbound and WEGOVY they work with chronic obesity management, but they also prescribe compounds. And so they have a PA department, a prior authorization department. My insurance company does not cover Zepbound. And so I have been self-pay. I've been one of those 50% that have been self-pay, which is quite expensive. And we had to completely revamp our budget to work this in each month. And I plan to be on this medication for the rest of my life. And that's something to think about in terms of finances when starting this medication, but I digress. Join Fridays has a PA department, prior authorization, to essentially fight with, not fight, but they have the resources to go in for PAs to get prior authorizations with your insurance company. I found out through my free encouragement group, which is why I recommend go to the link down below with all these links down in the description. One of my free encouragement groups has my particular health insurance and was like, oh my gosh, I got a PA for a year for Zepbound. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that was an option. And so if that, you can use the discount code QUEEN to go if you're wanting to switch over to a telehealth company that does have a very large PA prior authorization department. That's literally what I'm doing this week. I'm submitting in the backend portal because I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams. I can have what's called async, where I don't have to have the video chats, but in the back of the portal, you can submit to have a PA done with your insurance company, and they will paper push. So they'll process and help with that paperwork, because I think that's one of the things with my insurance company. I don't want to fight with them. I fought with them for so many other things with paperwork. I was like, I just don't have the fight in me. I'd rather just pay. If that is an option for you, if you are with Join Fridays, maybe looking to see if WEGOVY is another option to get a PA, or Zepbound, or switching to semaglutide compound instead. Many of you guys have had said, I was on a semaglutide before, I was on WEGOVY before. It is different. Zepbound has the two receptors in there, WEGOVY has one. So semaglutide, WEGOVY, same thing. When we're talking about the active ingredient in it, Tirzepatide is the active ingredient in Zepbound. And so, again, I'm not medical, and none of this is medical advice. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. But from my understanding of how to explain this, with the Zepbound is a GIP1 included in there. That's the second receptor. And so there's slightly higher data of it, which is why I'm on Zepbound. I wanted the best of the best, being over 100 pounds overweight. I was like, I need the strongest I can get. And which is why I didn't even start with WEGOVY. That's why I went directly to Mounjaro, and because of the Mounjaro shortage, to Zepbound. So the reason why I'm explaining that is there is similar data. It's slightly higher with Zepbound than it is versus WEGOVY, but still, isn't that better than nothing? As we kind of go through this, because eventually what's going to happen? Eventually, insurance companies are going to catch on. we know in 2 years that way, way, way more, and even sooner than that, but some of the higher strength GLP-1s like retatrutide or the higher doses of Zepbound, some of these other trials are going on, can eventually get to the marketplace in 2 years. And so that's more competition. I love a capitalist society. More competition is going to mean that the prices will lower. And so having out there not just Wegovy or Zepbound, but having these high strength GLP-1 medications, more competition will lower the price. So right now, is it challenging? Yes, yes it is. But also the flip side, I am so incredibly grateful. It is the best time to be alive because we have this life-saving medication. This medication has saved my life, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I know that I'm going to live longer. This chick right here on the right, the before, had an early grave time. I'm trying to be mindful of the algorithm of my word choices. I know I'm going to live longer than that. We are refinancing and revamping our retirement plan and our financial plan because I'm going to live longer. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to live longer and I need to revamp my retirement strategy because I'm going to be healthy. I'm healthier, 92 pounds down. I mean, my heart, my joints, you can go through every single thing, my cells. And so I'm so grateful for this medication. And so holding on and focusing on the gratitude as opposed to the shortage thing, because this shortage thing can really get you revved up. I've seen it. I've seen myself do it. I'm like, the vibrational energy. No, you've been taken care of. You're going to be taken care of. You are smart, you are solution oriented, and you will figure out a solution for your specific situation. There's lots of roads that lead to Rome. You will figure it out. It may take some legwork, but your health is worth it. You are worth it. You will figure it out. And if that means switching over to a compound, like switching over compounds from Tirzepatide to semaglutide, or seeing if prior authorization is something that you can do, or working with your HR to maybe get these approved for your insurance plan that's coming out soon. In October, you can get a new insurance plan. Hello, have you looked into that at all? I know I have. I'm like, gosh, should we switch insurance plans that really do cover Zepbound? Uncover all the stones, my friends, because this is also evolving. This was one of the things about changing our insurance plans was, I'm like, well, it keeps evolving. Insurance companies keep adding and subtracting. And so the media does like to paint a very grim picture of how many of these medications, GLP-1 medications, are covered for Wegovy or for Zepbound. There's a lot of coverage out there. Eli Lilly said on their call, their investors call for Q2, I believe it was more than 30% of insurance companies are covering Zepbound now, or covering Tirzepatide. So I need to fact check that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. All that to say that there's momentum moving forward. The new study that came out and I didn't put it on this slide. I'm going to be talking about it in an upcoming video. Was basically talking about how Tirzepatide is helping to dramatically reduce type 2 diabetes. The statistics are overwhelming. They just came out yesterday. So I'll be doing an updated video on that. So more and more insurance companies are going to be catching on. Not having to pay for people to have type 2 diabetes, insulin. I mean, gnarly, I don't even want to get into familiar history, but amputations and things like that. I mean, it's type 2 diabetes is to help even just cut that out of the gate and to have people not even have that disease. So my friends, the reason why I'm saying all this, the point that I'm trying to get at is more insurance companies are going to catch on because the data doesn't lie about how Tirzepatide, for example, and semaglutide are helping with reduce 20% of, in the trials, strokes, cardiovascular activities, sleep apnea. I mean, I can keep going on and on. There's in pre-trials for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. You can name some of the gnarliest diseases that we have currently as a population and how these GLP-1 medications, it's amazing. That's been my experience. And of course, the flip side of that coin, of course, I have to say this because you have to legally, there's less than 1% of people do have gnarly side effects like pancreatitis, appendicitis, the thyroid cancer. Always talk to your healthcare provider about these. But most common side effects are gastrointestinal, diarrhea, constipation, and nausea. Honey, I will take the diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. I'll take the trots to be able to have the life that I'm making a joke. It was a joke. If you didn't laugh at that joke, then I got to work on my jokes telling skills. But hopefully some of you laughed. I know some of you counts and countesses laughed. My little boy just told a toot jokes before I came in. Anyone have 9-year-old boys? My boy's almost 9 years old. Talks about fart jokes all the time. Enough of that, because I am the Countess and we'll go back to ladylike talk. My mom would be mortified that I'm talking about farts. Shortage information, you do want to go check those sources. It's not, that is, Wegovy and Ozempic are updated on the FDA website. And I'll switch over. You'll see on there that it's not as of August 2nd that got updated, which I had already reported on, but I think the reporting on this that was not clear was people thinking that they could get their medication easier. And I'm like, actually, it's probably gonna be harder, because if you've got these people coming off these compounds, that's gonna make more demand, right? And if there's already a limited supply and more demand coming because people are coming off compounds because the compound pharmacies are getting sued and getting cease and desist letters, there's gotta be an overflow, right? The supply chain was less of a shortage because a lot of people went to compounds. Now that they're not going to compounds, that's getting taken away. And again, for people who are on compounds, I do not want you to go to that fearful place, because I can see it right now. I bet you some of you listening are like, oh my gosh, oh my God. Don't get yourself in a tizzy. Breathe. You're going to figure this out. And I've already mentioned some solutions, maybe looking to see getting on the compound semaglutide, maybe switching to see if you can get a PA through your insurance company. Y'all, I talk about, for the last year and a half of my life, on a daily basis, I have a daily GLP-1 show, knock, knock, and I didn't think to go through a PA through Join Fridays with my insurance company. I just assumed it would be no. I didn't even try. I'm like, why am I not trying? They have a whole department that will try for me. I just have to tell them. I'm the one who does these videos and I don't even do that. And I was like, if I'm doing these videos and I even do that, then most people watching probably are not doing that. So anyways, there's lots of, the point that I'm trying to say is I've got a lot of action items for you today. And many of you guys also too, by the way, it's so cool to hear people getting all these PAs, the prior authorizations, the prior, with your insurance company. In our private group, we talk about that a lot. A lot of people are getting them. And so, because Friday's department is good. As you go through and as we have these tools, making sure that we're working out, having LMNT electrolytes as a resource for muscle recovery, but also for side effects included with them too. Make sure you snag your 8 free sticks with any purchase at drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. Make sure also you tell me down below your accountability question. What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? And number 3, our emoji of the day is going to be a lightning bolt, or like a, lightning bolt. That tells me that you made it this far in the video. 1, I want to get to know you better, and your handle showing up over and over helps me to get to know you better. And 2, I will pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. And you're going to want to stay tuned on Monday's show. I have the biggest fashion. I've lost 92 pounds, so my sizes have changed quite a bit. I have been testing so many new clothes. I cannot wait to show you guys. So stay tuned for that episode. It's going to be a fun one of a new clothing haul, of really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. I've bought and tested some duds that will not be included, and then some really amazing pieces that are really well price point too, as well. And as you continue to change sizes, it goes along with changing sizes too. Okay, sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings, because life is delicious. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.